This climb was like nothing I'd ever experienced. Its relentlessly steep, savage gradients almost broke me. The stunning views surrounding me were a pleasant distraction from the pain and suffering. Ahead of me, the mountain was full of bodies slowly dragging their way up this beast of a climb. The big days here. Fausto Coppi Gran Fondo 2024, here we come. Actually really nervous about this one. Been here sort of 3 or 4 days, wrecking some of the local roads, some of the local climbs, and yeah, it's a beautiful part of the world, but the climb's pretty savage. Road surfaces in places aren't great, so the descent's going to be interesting. This event today is 177 kilometers, over 4,000 meters of climbing, and the main climb of the day, the Colle Fauniera, is 22k long, average gradient of 8%, goes up to 2,500 meters, the biggest climb I've ridden for a long time. These Italian Gran Fondos are no joke. The field's always stacked with ex-pros and high-level amateurs, and whereas the events I've been doing in Spain are ridden like races, for sure this one was going to be. To add to all this, the temperature over the last few days has been pretty brutal. I'm sure you've seen the start of the Tour de France. The heat there and the issues it's caused riders has been very similar here. Although it's going to be a big day of suffering for me, I've got no doubt some of the footage I'm going to shoot is going to be spectacular. It's going to be a good one. Let's get into it. "2,000 riders here to do this one. International event, riders from all over the world. Not a bad venue for a race start. So myself and 2,300 riders from 36 different nations lead the spectacular Piazza Garamberti Cuneo bang on 7 AM. We'll leave the square right across the bridge out of town, and this is where the event splits. Those doing the 111km Medio Fondo go left, and riders doing the big boy 177 Gran Fondo go right. Just over 400 riders doing the Gran Fondo, and I spend the first few kilometers sitting in, making my way at the front of the race. It takes me a few k to get there, but when I do, I'm just following the wheels, keeping my powder dry, ready for that first climb. First hour is run off at just below 40 kph, then we roll on to the first climb of the day, and this is where I get my first taste of things to come. First 30k, pretty flat. Now we're at the business end. 5k up the first climb, it's a 10k climb, average gradients, 8%. Trying to pace it up here, keep it below 300 watts. I don't want to blow it there. It's fair to say the sensations from the legs at this point aren't too positive. Despite how I feel though, I'm trying to stay calm, riding within myself and hoping the legs come good later in the day. Over the top of the climb and we roll onto the first descent. These descents we're taking on today are super sketchy. Loads of mega tight hairpins, the surface in places isn't great, there's damp on the roads,
I'm riding easy, taking no risks, trying to keep the bike upright.
Drop off our first climb. Managed to get myself into a decent group of about 20. 2 hours gone. Done 57k. Felt absolutely terrible on our first climb. Power numbers were well down, heart rate was well off, so don't know what's going on there. Just gonna sit in, try to ride my way into it. At the minute, it's not looking good.
After a short but sweet 15k rolling along the valley in the wheels of a big group, at 72k we hit the next climb of the day. At just under 7 kilometers in length, going off the profile of the route, this appears to be the easiest climb of the day. As you'll see as the day goes on, these climbs have no shallow gradients and this one was anything but easy. As we approach the top of the climb, I notice a water fountain at the side of the road and decide to stop in here and beat the queues at the feed station. Bottles refilled, over the top, and then we're on to the next super sketchy descent of the day. Descent done, we roll onto the valley road and the scenery that surrounds me gives me an indication of what's to come.
Just about to roll onto the lower slopes of the Colle Fauniera. It's quite a daunting sight when your Garmin says you've got 1,700 metres of ascent until the top. This one tops out at 2,500 metres. It's 22 k's in length, average gradient of 8%. Probably going to be climbing for the next hour and 20 maybe. You can take it nice and steady, enjoy the views, hopefully get some nice shots for you guys.
Gradients on the first part of the Fauniera are pretty steady away and lull you into a false sense of security, but as the kilometres tick on and the mountain steepens, the road starts to bite.
About halfway up now, absolutely relentless. Constantly at like 10-12%. It's fair to say my legs today are worse have been all year. I expect to start making a few places up on this climb, but I'm going backwards, riders come past me.
As we reach this point, with 8.5 kilometers to go to the summit, the road and the views of this magnificent mountain start to open up. Ahead of me, all I can see is a stream of tired riders making their way up this beast of a climb. The views on offer at this point were absolutely spectacular and definitely helped take my mind off the suffering. And with 4 kilometers still to go to the top of the climb, there was plenty more of that inbound. not so well known, make no mistake in terms of length, gradient and altitude, the Colle Fauniera sits alongside some of the most iconic climbs in Europe. And with that in mind, it seems fitting with the stature of this giant of a mountain to see a memorial to one of the greatest climbers and one of the most exciting riders to have ever graced its slopes, Italian cycling legend Marco Pantani. Only 4 or 5 weeks ago, this magnificent mountain was still covered in snow. Once the snow had cleared, organisers had to get to work and make urgent repairs to the road so the event could even go ahead. In places though, the road surface was still pretty sketchy and the organisers had put in place a 6-kilometre neutral zone on the first part of the descent. Once clear of that though, the brakes were off, the road opened up and it was time to rip.
Oh, it's fair to say, that last climb well and truly broke me. Just pure survival mode for the second half. Couldn't push on the pedals, back was hurting. Absolute torture. Bloody knackered. High mountains, completely different to everything I've done this year.
Descent done and we rolled on to the last climb of the day. This is a climb I wrecked 2 days ago, so I know it pretty well. Although I'm running on fumes, there's riders in a much worse state than I am. One last 9-kilometre push to the top of this one, then it's downhill all the way to the finish in Cuneo.
Gonna sit up and wait for a group, but someone behind us. Those climbs we've done today, man, they are absolutely savage, relentless. All 4 of the main climbs were 9, 10, 12%, totally overgeared. I think I rode 75% of the Fauniera out of the saddle. Lesson learned for the Haute Route.
Head down, time to get this last 20k knocked off, predominantly downhill, back to Cuneo. Before long, I'm back in town and heading towards the finish line. The Fausto Coppi Gran Fondo was an absolutely savage day out on the bike, and across the line, legs buckled, completely empty with nothing else more to give.
Morning after day before, tell you what, these glasses hide a multitude of sins. Absolutely knackered day. Legs are in bits. Last day in Italy though, so yeah, got to get out, do at least a couple hours, see a bit more of the local area and just spin the legs out. That event really took it out of me. To be honest, I really struggled to film and talk on camera. I've not watched the footage back yet, but yeah, it's easy to film when everything's going well. Last weekend, for an example, had the ride completely under control, felt good for the whole event, and filming it was an absolute pleasure. Yesterday, it's definitely a lot harder when you're not feeling good. Definitely the toughest event I've done this year. Had the same amount of climbing as New York 312, but in pretty much half the distance. And I knew as soon as we hit the first climb, my legs just weren't in the game. I tried to ride conservatively in hopes that my legs would come good towards the end, and on the Fauniera I'd be able to make up a few places, but in reality it just really went from bad to worse. My power was down, my heart rate was down, not sure what was going on. Not sure if I hadn't recovered from the dragon ride last week. It was a real sufferfest from the first climb until crossing that finish line in Cuneo. My takeaways from yesterday's event: although I've been pretty happy with my fitness, been feeling strong on the bike, and the events this year have mostly gone well so far, yesterday's event definitely highlighted I've got more work to do. And over the next 2 months, that's what the content on this channel is going to be geared towards. My preparation for the Haute Route. Can I turn this average mammal into a mountain climbing machine? I'm going to try to document everything from my training, my nutrition and my weight, show you guys what I'm doing, and in all this we'll see how much of a difference it makes. That was my 2024 Fausto Coppi. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, you know what to do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video. Any questions or comments, fire them down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. My name's Dave, this is my channel Dave Rides Again. I'm nothing special, just a mammal on a mission. I'll catch you next time.